Silent Gamer here. Welcome to the elimination round for the Leap of Faith, my 5th and final Let's Play of Season 1, which you, the viewer, will choose. Last time we held the qualifier round, where you will select the games that will be up for elimination. Now, it's your guys' chance to vote on who will go and who will stay until we have our champion game. But what are the contenders? What games were selected? I'm sure most of you probably already know. There weren't too many decisions, but 4 games were nominated. First, nominated by Bryman, longtime fan and friend of the show, Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64-bit entertainment system. Paper Mario is a really fun, quirky little game, much like the game that it was spawned from. A few of you might know that Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64 is the spiritual successor to Mario RPG. But dropping a lot of the bizarrely different character ideas from Mario RPG and instead using more traditional mainstream Mario characters. Not to say those weren't in Mario RPG. So, what are the pros and what are the cons to me playing Paper Mario? Well, one of the biggest pros is that because I'm so familiar with the game, I'll be able to do additional challenges and finish it in a way that fewer people have finished it. Maybe even complete the game. It's also the game on this list that I believe will take the shortest amount of time to finish. So that means an earlier arrival into Season 2. What are the cons? Well, Paper Mario it's really quite easy for me. It's one of my most replayed games. Nowhere near as high as some of my favorites of all time, but fairly high for something that's not my absolute favorite. So I know the game very well, and there's likely to be a lot less rage. Even with additional challenges imposed, I find Paper Mario very easy. Not that that's saying it's a bad game, because it's not. I just feel like I'm obligated to name pros and cons for each game to be played. The second nominee was actually submitted by Ninja Bro, my younger brother, who I refer to as the talented gamer. Ninja Bro loves to mess with me, apparently. I fully expected him to when I heard that he was going to vote. And he selected Final Fantasy VII, knowing full well that I never finished a Square Enix game before because, quite frankly, I can't stand how darn tedious most of them are, or how little conveyance some of them have. That said, to be fair, I've only ever played 2 Final Fantasy games, and I have finished the one Squaresoft game that I played, Mario RPG. And Final Fantasy VII, according to most fans, not all, but most, is the best of the best. And a great place to get started in the franchise with. So what are some of the pros to playing Final Fantasy? Like I said, I've never played a Square Enix game before that I finished. So it would be almost virtually blind. I say almost and virtually because the internet exists and it'd be impossible to not know some of the plot of the game. As renowned and beloved a classic as it's become. It would be a chance for me to explore new territory. But there are some downsides. Final Fantasy games are long. So unlike Paper Mario, which I could get over with, finish fairly fast and move on to Season 2, it could be 100 episodes. I know I've said that before at least 3 times, and none of those times was I even close. But Final Fantasy Let's Plays generally tend to last 100 or more episodes. And it's uncharted territory for me. I don't know much about the lore, much about the background. I know it takes place in a steampunky, futuresque universe sort of type place, but beyond that I don't know very much about the game, so my insight would be fairly limited. There'd probably be more why with this option than with the other 2 that I have yet to mention, and certainly more why than Paper Mario. Let's move on to the third suggestion. The third suggestion was made by Dragon Slayer King, a relatively new fan of the show who started commenting on my videos during my Fable Let's Play. Not so surprisingly, he suggested Fable 2, a game that he'd already suggested in the past. While regardless of what happens here, I do plan on Let's Playing all of the games that get mentioned in these Leap of Faiths. The positives? Fable 2 is a lot shorter than its predecessor. And so, while definitely longer than Paper Mario, it wouldn't take an overtly long amount of time for me to finish it. Also, I do have plans of some fun stuff to do whenever I get around to Let's Playing Fable 2 that I wasn't able to do with the first game. I'm very familiar with it, much like Paper Mario, though not to that same extreme. Now down to the downsides. First downside's obvious. I just Let's Played Fable the Lost Chapters. And while it definitely taught me a lot in terms of how to play games like Fable, I'm fresh out. I am fresh out of that Let's Play. And while it's not banned, I didn't ban repeat franchises because I want to give you guys a chance to pull the plug. And sometimes lack of variety is in itself variety. I literally just played Fable 2. And so it would be a lot harder for me, Fable, the Lost Chapter. So it would be a lot harder for me to get my heart as into it as I could the other projects on this list. On to the fourth and final suggestion. The fourth final official vote was actually left by my father. The man who very first got me into video games by coming home from work and playing Doom all night long by himself. I wanted to spend time with my dad, and if the only way to do that was to watch him play video games, then I was more than happy to. And eventually that would be one of the big things we would base our father-son relationship off of. Anyways, he wants me to move on to the next console in gaming. I own a Wii U. He voted for Super Mario 3D World. What are the pros about Super Mario 3D World? Well, it's a game I've never played from a franchise I'm very familiar with. The Mario platforming franchise. And between multiple playable characters like in Mario 2 and many other factors, I feel like I could do some interesting challenge runs, even for a game that I've never played before. The cons. because it's a platformer, it's incredibly short. I consider Ratchet and Clank as one of the longer traditional platformers. And it took me 10 episodes to finish the entire series. Without being as familiar with Mario 3D World as I am Ratchet and Clank, I can still confirm that it would probably take less episodes than I have total of Viva Pinata Seasons 1 and 2 on side. So, it wouldn't last. Kind of the opposite problem that I would have with a Final Fantasy game. But, it's not up to me. All four are fine choices. It's up to you. Here's how to vote. In the description of this video is a link to the straw poll that I set up for this voting session. On that straw poll is a list of every possible 2 sets of games from this list. I want you to vote for one of those, and each of those games will get a -1. Highest score will be the game that goes on to be Let's Played. I'll try to get all the voting tallied by the 22nd. And I'll probably make the video on the 21st. The very first of the Leap of Faith. In the event of a tie, I'll use a coin flip or a dice roll to determine the winner. Remember, you're not voting for the 2 games that you want me to play. You're voting for the 2 that you don't want me to play. That way I feel like we can get the most accurate results. Anyways, please stick around, please vote. Leave a comment in the comment section. Subscribe if you like this idea a lot, subscribe. And anyway, until next time, as always, stay enlightened.